Welcome to Spotlight TV. I'm your host, Emily Zubi. And today we have an incredible CEO as we're doing our CEO series. We have Sharie Reid, who is the CEO of Luxe Lifestyles Miami and has an incredible business, an incredible location that you may want to use in addition to finding a new place to spruce up your home and put in some luxury into your lifestyle. Welcome to Spotlight. It's so good to have you.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
You travel so much that trying to get this scheduled, but tell me, let's start with your story, like how you started in this business. What was your passion? What was your inspiration?
So, they say it takes a while to find your niche. So, I worked for corporate America. I had a restaurant. I had three clothing stores. Fashion was my thing. And I'm originally from Guyana, South America, moved to New York when I was 9. And then my husband wanted to move to Miami. I said, buddy, we ain't going to Miami. We're going to get divorced if we go to Miami. So then he said, you know what? He wanted to go to Atlanta. I wouldn't go. So he said, I think Texas is the next big thing. So I ended up moving from New York to Houston. And then I had a restaurant in Houston. I had three clothing stores.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Failed miserably because I'm coming from New York. I'm like 10 years ahead in fashion. My name is SJR Couture. I'm bringing this fancy. I live in a soccer mom town. I have marble floors on my boutique, and they wouldn't even come in. They're like, oh, she's too expensive. We can't go in there. And then I had another store in New York. I did another one in the city of Houston. Failed miserably at the fashion thing. We opened the restaurant. Terrible, but I loved it. So I was the chef, the cook, the busboy, the dishwasher, all in one.
But isn't that the truth though in the entrepreneur life? When you start something and anything that we start with a passion that we as an entrepreneur, it's like the hustle is real. So having to switch hats and play all those different roles is not surprising.
So when I moved to Houston, I had a little interior design business in New York, but I never really pushed it. It's like a bad habit. You walk into someone's house and I'm moving stuff with my eyes. Like, no, you got to put this, put that. My husband's always saying somebody's going to kick you out of their house because you just walk in and you start moving stuff around. So when I got to Houston, I had this huge house. I didn't understand square footage coming from New York. So we built the house. We're like, okay, we had three kids. We moved to Houston. We had our Houston surprise. So we ended up having four kids. We're like, all right, our family's going to come over. So we're building this house, and we would come and we're like, what did we do? Because you just see this house just keeps going up, going up. And that kind of gave me my start like in design because I had fun putting my own house together. The neighbors wouldn't let their kids come over to my house because they're like, oh, you're going to break everything in our house and it's so expensive. But it wasn't. It's just having that eye and being able to pick it. So my dad'll tease me like, what's a country girl from Guyana? Where'd you get your style or your taste? What do you know about all this design? And then my other son is like, when he walks around, I just redid my own house again. He's like, Mom, you have all of this in your head? It's just there and you just come up with it. So the technical aspect I suck on. I don't know how to render, I don't know whatever, but I know how to point my finger. I'm like, I need this done, I need that done, and I get it done. So I started with my house with designing, and I said, you know what, I really like this. So we were supposed to go in a partnership like 11 years ago with a friend of ours, maybe matter of fact 19 years. And I didn't do it. I ended up getting pregnant with my last son. And I said, I can't haul furniture with this belly in front of me. So I went into the clothing side and I put the furniture stuff aside. And then after I failed miserably at the restaurant and the clothing, I said, you know what? I'm about to do what I want to do. Scraped up my last and was like, you know what? I'm opening this store. So when I first started 9 years ago, I had my first retail store in Houston. And I didn't have this huge, big budget to, put all this merchandise on the floor. So customers will come in and be like, is this a catalog store? And I'm like, no, we do interior design. So, we're just, we let you customize what you want. Started with just a few pieces. And next to me was like this other big space that I wanted. And I'm like, man, I don't want to, take that chance and go in there. So in a couple years in my first space, my husband and I kind of, we put it together. We were our own delivery people. We did the deliveries ourselves, the whole assemble. And I used to tell him, like, what do you think? I'm not this strong. He would not ask for help. It's
Uh-huh.
like someone could be passing on the street, and I'm like, I can't lift this sofa and put it in this truck. And he's like, no, you're going to do it, because he refused to ask for help.
Uh-huh.
One time he made me carry a desk up, like freaking flights going up. And I'm like, he's like, you can do it. You can do it. And I don't know how the desk made it, but
No.
it made it up there. And during COVID, the new space that I wanted was available.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, man, I think I'm taking this space. I was scared out of my mind, but I said, you know what? I'm going to do it.
Is this the space that you're
No,
in?
this
Oh
was my
no.
Houston store.
Oh, okay, Houston.
And then I took the space, I think it was March of 2020. And everyone's like, oh my God, like, aren't you scared? COVID hits. I was terrified. I said, oh my God, what did I do? And by the grace of God, we were deemed, an essential business. And we did so much drop shipping, and it took off because everyone was home, and they looked around and was like, you know what, I got to spruce my house up.
Everybody that
Everybody.
you picked up a hobby, you decorated your home, you just sat there, you had to figure out something to do. So the statistics are
It
incredible.
was incredible. And during COVID, it just took off, and the social media was incredible. So I did, I went to market, got, the stuff from the showrooms, different stuff, videotaped it, posted up, and the business just took off.
Amazing.
But I think when you love what you do, it's not work. I love the transformation. So I love seeing people's homes, and it's not about the money. I'm always like, hey, I'll do this for free. I'll do that. I go the extra mile. So we do staging, we do the interior design, and then we have the retail.
That's wonderful. And then when did you open up Miami?
Miami, I opened 3 years ago.
Okay.
So how Miami came about, I came for a design job in Pompano Beach. A customer from New York flew me out to do a design job. And I'm driving around, and I went to Design District for the first time. Biggest mistake in Miami is to go to Design District. So there was a sign for lease from a company. And I said, oh, let me call. And I tell you, this realtor was so persistent. He called me every week. You should get a space in Miami. You should get a space in Miami. And I was like, you know what? He kept bothering me. I came down. I saw a few spaces, and then I fell in love with the one that I had. It has a dock. We have the big open floor plan. And I said, you know what? Let's just open a store in Miami.
It is beautiful. I
Thank you.
mean, it is such a beautiful location. We had the opportunity to shoot one of our coffee table book of leaders in your space. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And I just thought to myself, like, as I was looking around, I'm like, I need that, I need that, I need that. I mean, I really felt like redoing my entire place. I
Well,
mean,
whenever you're
the
ready.
little vignettes and the different style and really really luxury.
It still takes my breath away. Like last night, I flew in on Tuesday and I went in last night, and I look around and I'm just like, wow, this is really mine. Like, I'm just so impressed of, how it came out with the lighting. So Miami helped me. I need to make a name out here.
That's wonderful. How did you come up with the name?
So I kept playing around with, I wanted to do Sharie Reid designs. And then I was like, oh, that's kind of boring. And I started with Luxury for Less NYC. And then I said, luxury for less. People are going to think it's cheap. It's not, because, I love a luxury lifestyle.
Right.
So I just kept playing around, and I'm like, you know what? Luxe lifestyles. I want to promote a luxury lifestyle that people can afford. So like my tagline is kind of like, make your luxurious dreams come true.
Oh, nice.
And with playing around with Google, trying to make the domains, I had to add the NYC on Luxe Lifestyles to get it. So then when I did Miami, so my Houston store is Luxe Lifestyles NYC in Houston, and everyone is like, so the New Yorkers get upset. You're not in New York. Why are you doing this? But I'm from New York. Do you guys own the name NYC? And then for branding, I said, you know what? Let me do Luxe Lifestyles Miami. So for each city, and then our goal is to open another store in Houston, which we're going to do Luxe Lifestyles Houston. So whatever city we're in, we're gonna just tag it with the name of that city.
It's got to be challenging. Okay, you've got four kids, you're an entrepreneur, you've owned these multiple locations, you're nonstop, you do a lot for charity. Uh, how do you manage?
It's having a nice team. My husband and I work very hard together. My kids are a whole nother story. They're spoiled brats. My daughter's
You didn't
25,
see that. You didn't. Yeah.
just but graduated nursing school. So I have, what the girls are easy. The boys now, I got to get them. Like, no one wants the business. So it's like dragging them, trying to teach them to learn. It's challenging with being bi-coastal, so like the back and forth. I feel like I live out of a suitcase. My triangle, I tell everyone, is New York, Houston, Miami, but they're like, wait, what are you complaining about? Like, that's an incredible triangle. But I visit my parents a lot. My dad's been really sick for the past few years.
Sorry.
So
Sorry to hear
thank
that.
you. So it's like I'm in New York, Houston, Miami. And the minute I kind of unpack, it's like, all right, I got to go again.
Where are your parents?
They're in New York.
In New York. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
My son is moving to New York in May, and I've been telling everyone I need an excuse to go up there. Even more so. I mean, he's my excuse, but the fact
He'll
that
love it.
he's yeah, I'm from New York, so I mean, anybody. I remember the first couple years when I was at MTV. People would say, "When are you going to stop saying you're from New York?" It's
And
like,
my husband does the same thing. If people ask, we're from New York. I'm like, we live in Houston for 19 years now. So,
right.
but the accent, you never lose that accent. You don't lose that New York.
I know the
I
always.
don't miss the cold, but I do love it. Like just going home, it's, incredible. Just the food, the people, and my entire family's there. I'm like the only one in Houston.
How do you think when you think of the Houston store, and you think of Miami, how are those two showrooms different?
So the economy in Houston, believe it or not, is a lot much stronger. Where so much people are moving, buying. So my little Houston store does so much volume compared to
Wow.
my Miami store. So it's just a whole different animal.
Wow, that's interesting. That's really interesting. I know someone who recently moved to Houston, and it seems like a lot of big companies. So, although we've had some big announcements here too in Miami. So,
I think Miami's a little bit more competitive, whereas Houston, they're still growing, learning. So having like just a new trend, new style, it's like uplifting to them.
that's wonderful. What about when you start working with a client? Do you take a look at what they have now and then envision, or what do you ask? What's the critical question that you ask that helps you ascertain what the style might be, or come, because people tell you, and then there's the person you think you are, the person you tell people you are, and then the person, so having a home, I mean, if you were to see my home, you would know what I mean. But what is it that you ask them that helps you figure out, okay, I know what this person wants and what this person needs?
So it's first you have to get them to trust you. So I have clients that'll, hey, this is my budget. Just go in, do what you do. I don't need to show them a presentation, do whatever. A lot of times people are struggling with trying to figure out their style. So like I thought I was this super just contemporary person. I needed, all clean lines, all whatever. Then when I redid my home, I went transitional. So you kind of learn your style as you go, and sometimes you have to be able to take risks. So they'll hire me as a designer, like, okay, I'm the expert, I know, but then it's like, no, I still want this. And I'm like, just trust the process.
Uh-huh.
I think coming from the humble background that I come from, my daughter calls me a hoarder because I don't like to waste anything. So I'm always, if I go in, unless it's totally horrible, I'm like, okay, I'll try to reuse, or let's position or place stuff differently. And we evolve with style. So you could, like something one day and then the next day you don't. The biggest challenge is when you have a couple where one is contemporary, one is traditional. Like meshing that style is
Hmm.
what gives you that, because one wants it this way, one wants it that way. So what I do, I say we have to compromise. You pick a room that you're gonna do totally with your style, and then the wife or the husband, we switch and match that way. But it's challenging.
Well, are there certain trends right now that be it colors or
Neutrals are like always gonna
like the
be
Pantone color this year? It's
new
like,
neutrals is always gonna be your go-to. So what I like to do as a designer, I love color, but in just like maybe my rugs, my pillows, my artwork, because I don't want to change out your big furniture. And I try to do a design that's, timeless, classic. I have a dining table set that I bought in 2000 when I first got married in New York at Fortune Off. And I still have this in my house now. I reupholstered the chairs, just added two host chairs. And every time I post that video on Instagram, can I buy that table? And I'm like, this table is now 25 years old, but it's just picking pieces that'll be relevant and timeless. So that's kind of what I aim for.
Now, your kids, you have any, who's out of the home already?
None.
They're all still home.
They're all still home. And I don't think they're leaving.
No time
And
soon.
now their friends are coming and they're not leaving. So I'm just like, I'm Mother's Day, they're all at my house. Thanksgiving, Christmas. And I'm like, your parents don't miss out yet. No. They'll ask me from days before, so what are you cooking? What's on the menu?
And you're a good cook, as we've already
We can tell I like to
No,
eat.
you had a restaurant, so I imagine
Yes.
you love to cook and
I do.
and entertaining and on all that.
So the entertaining part I love, but I think I need a new family. My kids hate it. My husband hated it because I'm Christmas, Thanksgiving, just whatever. I'll just set up the table and have a fancy dinner just because. So I don't drink. I drink the Welch's grape juice and I'll pour it in a wine glass and I'm sitting there like, oh, I'm sipping wine and it's like the funniest thing ever. I'll send it. We have a group chat with my family and my nieces and my sister. And I'm like, wine time. And they're like, here she goes with that Welch's grape juice again.
That reminds me of my grandmother.
But I love to entertain. So, I have during every time when the new year starts, I kind of reorganize everything. And I started with my kitchen this year and I'm going through all the pantry and the cupboards. And I'm like, well, I didn't know I have all these dineware and whatever. So I'm setting up the table. They're like, is she just having regular Sunday breakfast and she's got napkins and rings and whatever going on? And I'm like, just enjoy it. It makes me feel good. But I can't win with them. When I didn't put up a tree this year because I was traveling and got back and forth, and my daughter graduated nursing school. We had a party for her. And I said, I don't want the Christmas tree up, already for everyone to come. It's going to just take up space. So they're like, you didn't put up a tree? I said, but when I do, I go over the top. When I don't, so I'm like, I can't win with you guys.
Right. I had one year I didn't put up a tree. My son was so upset with me.
It is. It's so the 1 year I put it up and I left it up for the whole year. It just stood there and it was a real tree. And I kept saying, this tree's going to fall over on us. And it stayed in the foyer and it was just like there. And it made it so easy because I said, Christmas came again. And I'm like, okay, we didn't have to do this again. It's a lot of work decorating those trees.
I imagine you decorate beautifully.
I like white and gold. So I kind of keep it neutral with that. And then I said, like, I'll pop in a red or a different color or something.
Now, we were talking before the show started about your space and how it's perfect for art exhibit, for Art Basel, and for, to host a podcast, to, any of that creative fashion shows. It's such a big space.
It is. I love it. It's like, I love the high ceilings and we can move the furniture around. So it's like, we could do so much. I'm working on a clothing line because I love my fashion and I miss it. So I have this whole vision of I'm like red carpet outside, valet, and I want to have this big runway in the middle of the showroom, chairs on both sides, the models walking in from the back coming in. I'm like, I'm going to launch this amazing clothing line and have this big fashion show in here.
Okay, you have to give me a sneak peek. What type of clothing?
So I own racehorses. So I love going to the racetrack. Like I had a hat line. So I like nice silhouettes, like off the shoulders, poofy. And my daughter's always teasing me, please don't shop for me because she's going to buy something that has a big bow or a poof or something. So I'm still working on the pieces. Color-wise, I'm going to keep it neutrals. I want to do like a blush and cream and white and gold.
Oh, nice, nice. Well,
So
also too, well, I saw you at Pegasus at that fashion show, and I know about your love and your passion, that equestrian, and I've been invited to polo in a couple weeks, the Sunday polo event. So,
oh, nice.
so I'll have to pick your brain for some
Sure.
inspiration. My one of our partners is the Powder Room, and I don't know if you know Ella Proshinska, but she's a total rock star,
I
and
don't. I'd love to
so
meet her.
she's like telling me, "Well, you wear some riding boots." I go, I go, "Girl, I don't have riding boots. Maybe I need to get a pair. I don't
I
know."
don't. Well, for the polo event, you're still, you're not out there actually in the field, so you still want to be girly, flirty. I think shoes and a dress, maybe a
Yeah,
nice
she's like, "You
little.
got to do the divots, and you can't be wearing heels." And I'm like, "Okay, okay, well, we'll figure that
We've
out."
done divots in our heels. It works, but
Oh,
a
okay.
wedge I think is like kind of like more easy to walk around when you're in the grass, like a garden party or polo.
Uh-huh.
I think a wedge will be more better.
What's so our listeners can take a look at your website and get an idea of the lines that you carry, some of the beautiful luxury lifestyle furnishings and accessories. I fell in love with so many of your accessories. I got to tell you, I did a TikTok at your your
Really,
show.
I have to look at it.
Yeah, I did, and but I mean the coffee table books, the pillows. I mean, there was so much that.
So I handpick everything that goes into the showrooms. I go to the markets and I'm pretty much picking, and I'm a bully, so my husband will go with me and I'll be like, no, I don't think so. I let him try with the fashion faces and it was a hit. So he was like, I like that. I said, I don't know. And everyone loved it. So I carry a lot of high end stuff and then I mix it because not everyone has this, disposable budget that they want to go $5,000, $6,000 on one piece. So I kind of mix it. Our website is luxelifestylesnyc.com. And we have a wide variety of stuff like the accessories. We have the big pieces, sofas, sectional. We're working on adding more pieces to it. Our Instagram really shows more of the stuff we carry because you can't stock everything on the floor.
It's in your Instagram IG address?
Instagram is Luxe Lifestyles NYC Home.
Okay. All right. So that you can take a look and take a
Yes.
look at all the beautiful items and get inspired.
I just launched I have my own pillow line. So I just launched a Valentine's collection. I did a red with a blush pink and a nice pattern. So we're promoting that right now. And we do custom pillows. We do like custom ottomans. I can upholster something if someone has a piece in their family that they've had for a long time and they want to keep it.
See, you're not stopping anytime soon.
No.
I mean, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
So I don't want to do the day to day operations. I don't have any patience. So I can't deal with the whole, customer service part of just people have my cell phone. I mean, that's just who I am. I don't care how big I am or what I make it. If you need something, you can
Hmm.
call me. So what I want to do is just have my own products. What I'm realizing with the Instagram following being what it is, a lot of the stores are copying what I put on the floor, how I style it. So if it's a Luxe Lifestyles brand, you can't find it. So I want to do wholesale and just mostly curate my own products.
Wonderful, wonderful. And then the fashion line is still
Fashion line is coming. I have to.
a passion.
I miss it.
That's well, you have such style. I mean, I'm
Thank
like
you.
in love with those shoes. I'm a woman after my own heart. I love beautiful shoes, and
Well, I want to be able to style you for all of your beautiful events.
that sounds great. So you were talking about growing up, and I'm curious, what would you tell your younger self?
What would I tell my younger self? I always kind of aim for the sky. So it's kind of, I would say, I never take no for an answer.
Right?
There's not, I always find a way. I ask, and I'm very detail oriented. So I'll ask a million questions. And yes, I talk to strangers. So I'm always networking or trying to make something. My younger self, I think I would just say, don't be afraid. I used to be like a little afraid of changes or,
Mhm.
you know, like, oh man, I can't do this. But now I'm just like, I don't doubt myself. Whatever I want, I work towards it. And I'm big in energy and spirituality. So I feel like I put it out in the universe, and I like setting goals.
That's wonderful. And when it comes, you've mentioned family so much. I'm curious, what would be some of the legacy and some of the characteristics that maybe you would take a page out of your parents? What would you say that you have learned from them that has helped you in business?
My dad is an entrepreneur. So I did his books and payroll at 12 years old for his company. I worked for him, with him for so many years. We had a big trucking company, and I got my entrepreneur skills from my dad. I was always late to work, trying to figure out what I'm gonna wear when I
Uh huh.
worked for corporate America. And I'm like, I can't do this. I need to be my own boss. Where but my husband has gotten me to be so much more punctual. That's why I beat you here today,
I,
because he's
I
like,
was
you can't be
rushing to
late.
make sure I was
He
early.
he really got me to where you can't be late. He hates lateness. So I started, becoming more on time, and I figure it makes a good impression. With starting the business, I was scared, but then, my parents are amazing. So I always have, I talk to my parents every day. My dad will give me pointers on what to do. And our horse racing is our biggest legacy in our family. My grandfather had horses. My dad came to America, he had horses. And now my sister is our trainer. So she's like the first minority horse trainer.
Wow, that's
So
kudos. That's
thank
amazing.
you. We are third generation horse people.
Wow. When are we
So
gonna? All right, I gotta go.
we we got to go
I
to the
love,
races.
I
So
love
well,
the
when you're in
races.
New York, we keep them in New York, but we travel. So my dad has ran. We did the whole Triple Crown thing. We haven't ran in the Kentucky Derby, but we did the Preakness. We did Belmont Stakes. We did the Breeders' Cup. We had the best 2-year-old in the country, and I was in love, so I never sold him. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're crazy." I'm like, he was my fifth child,
Oh,
so I couldn't sell him for money.
I
Or
love horses.
me too, like
I mean, that's
But the irony of it is, I've never rode a horse a day in my life.
no.
No, and I've been around them since I was a baby. I went to Turks and Caicos one year, and I was supposed to go horseback riding on the beach, and it didn't happen. And I said, maybe it's for a reason, but that's something that maybe 2025, that's one of my goals. I'm going to go horseback riding.
I've done that horseback riding on the beach, and I got a wild horse.
Really?
He had his own mind as to where we were gonna go, and just took off. And I went underneath one of these branches, and it was like the movies where I
Oh
got
my
caught.
God,
Yeah,
that sounds
my body's going.
terrifying.
That I had to just either I had to get off or latch on, and I just catapulted forward, and next thing you know, went into the ocean. And
And that's what I'm afraid of. That my first time, I'm gonna get a wild one, and I'm not gonna know what to do. And I'm
it,
terrified of heights, so I'm like, I don't want to get on a horse and then I fall down.
oh wow, wow,
But
well.
horse racing is
I'm gonna
incredible,
take you up on that offer and visit. Now I have even more reasons to go to New York
and
and
it's
to visit.
amazing. Saratoga in the summer is incredible, and they're redoing Belmont Park now, so it's gonna be
Wow.
such a nice racing experience. And Gulfstream Park here is amazing. Pegasus Millions is a
And do your children share the same passion for the equestrian?
So when you're winning, they're all for it. But if
Okay.
the horses are not running good and you're not willing, they're not. When they were younger, I was able to, get them all dressed up and take them to the races. Now it's like you have to beg. My daughter, I think, still likes it, but the boys are like, we're not going.
Oh, wow. Well, you were just such a pleasure. What a bright spot in my day. This is a point in the show where we give you your 30-second commercial. So look at the camera and tell them how to reach you and your business.
I'd like to thank everyone who supported me in my years of doing this whole designing. I'm absolutely in love with what I do. So when you enjoy what you do, it's not work. We have our Houston location is in Katy, Texas, 870 South Mason Road. We are looking at opening another showroom in Houston. So hopefully by the end of the year, we'll have that. And then our Miami showroom is 7240 Northeast 4th Avenue. We are tucked away between Wynwood and Design District. Amazing location. We have parking. and we do a lot of interior designing. So we take the guesswork out of you. You don't have to worry about, hey, what am I going to put in this room? We make it easy. I offer staging, which I'm loving because I get to sell the properties quicker, and it works. So Miami's full with a lot of amazing properties. Let us sell your properties for you. I am looking for some amazing sales help. So if you guys want to come work with me, shadow me, I would love it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being on Spotlight. You're an
Thank you for
absolute
having
pleasure.
me.
We thank you for joining us, and all our gratitude to community newspapers. They are the most amazing producers and do so much for our community. We'll see you next week on Spotlight TV for another feature.